Chairshot Reality, WrestleZone.com. Josh Eisenberg, joined by the Reverend Al Hunt. We have a big topic and a big debate to talk about that didn't happen on SummerSlam.
No.
It didn't happen on Raw. It didn't happen on SmackDown.
After.
It happened on Talking Smack on the WWE Network, and all of the rage and all of praise is going to The Miz for his incredible promo he cut on Daniel Bryan. Your reaction? Everybody knows what Daniel Bryan and The Miz's history over the years. The NXT, before NXT was even NXT, getting into the main event at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan coming up years later and being tutored, quote, tutored by The Miz. What was your initial thoughts on this promo of The Miz basically going out and attacking Daniel Bryan, knowing that Daniel Bryan can't physically do anything to him?
You know what? I expected nothing less. If you go back to what I said when you were following Chairshot Reality or WrestleZone, wherever, you see my prediction. I said they need to give the title to Apollo Crews. Why? Simply because I feel like he's more athletic. He gets over that way. And in general, with me, all respect to Miz, he is a better wrestler than Miz, even as green as he is right now within the main circuit. The thing is with this, Daniel Bryan was saying what a lot of people have been thinking deep in their heads, that Miz is getting too complacent. Miz is getting in time when he's lackadaisical. He said the same thing. Miz got angry. He shot his guns. To be honest, I wouldn't think that he would have shot his chops as much if it was a guy that's active on the roster. Yeah. To me, Miz just looks like a big bully, knowing that Daniel Bryan cannot come back. He said clearly on Talking Smack, if he could come back, he would. Miz knows that he can't come back, so he's going to capitalize on it.
It's great heat for The Miz, and LeBar wrote about this and talked about this on Triple Live Radio, TripleLive.com. Check out his articles. Whenever you have a guy like The Miz who is notoriously known and hated as being a heel, everybody loves to boo The Miz because they know, well, this is kind of like a Hollywood guy. He's not a guy that you want to see as a world champion again. Even though his world, like he was never an indie guy for 5, 6, 7 years. But I will say this. As much as people dislike The Miz, he has busted his ass, put in his time to become a really good wrestler. He's not going to be spectacular like Rollins and Balor and all these extremely athletic guys. But there's a reason why The Miz is still on that roster. There's a reason why he's Intercontinental Champion. He gets heat just by talking and just by looking on camera with a 12 out of 10 in Maurice next to him now. This elevates his character. And I think this was fantastic because you know the storylines in the background of The Miz and Daniel Bryan. This is the only thing that I'm worried about. If this happens and you have this on Talking Smack and you don't capitalize this on SmackDown and you just say, you know what, Miz, let's go back to a feud with Apollo Crews, or let's go back to a feud with a guy that you really don't have much history with, there needs to be a hired gun from Daniel Bryan to say, if I can't take you out, this guy will, and it has to be Bryan's guy. He has to enforce his power as general manager to target The Miz. Now, looking at The Miz's next steps, the next opportunities for him, it was a great promo, correct? You loved it, right?
Yeah. Okay. Definitely.
I don't think there was one person that said no.
The thing is with this, I said, listen, if the Rev was there herself, if I was there herself, I probably would have said exactly the same type of things. You look for moments like this to where you feel if your career is maybe at a standstill, you get that stick and you run those chops.
Just go as much as possible.
Go until you get caught off. Go until you can't say anything else. I think he did absolutely perfect. But my question to you is, how long do you think this can carry? We know that Daniel Bryan physically cannot get back in the ring. It's not a work. That's the legitimacy. He cannot get back in the ring. How long can Miz milk off this before, hey?
A couple of months. I think he can go a couple of months of 4 to 6 weeks of him and Bryan and him saying, I'm the Intercontinental Champion. You're not respecting me. You're not doing this for me. You're not doing that for me. The Miz doesn't necessarily need to wrestle every single week to get over. I mean, you look at a lot of SmackDowns and SmackDown Live, you thought, well, okay, Miz is going to be a guy that holds that mid-card, upper mid-card with storylines and feuds. He really hasn't had a lot of matches on SmackDown. That has to change a little bit. Maybe not every week where you need to see The Miz in a match, but you need to see a developed and a deep storyline for The Miz and the Intercontinental Championship. It has to be more than the title, but it still has to keep the focus back on the title, if that makes sense. Do you think Crews gets another match with him?
I honestly think this is going to go, I want to say, hopefully for about at least 4 to 5 more matches.
Okay.
I'm looking for, at the end of it, Apollo to get the best of him. Right now, the fans love to hate Miz. As a heel, that's what you look for. As a guy like me, that's what you look for. You love to get hated. If you're a heel and you're getting hated, you're doing your job. You're not meant to be a fan favorite. And I think by them attacking one that Daniel Bryan had the presence to where fans could hijack the show because Daniel Bryan didn't go quite to the top. So the fact is, Miz is capitalizing on that. As a heel, you cannot take any better golden ticket than to do exactly what Miz did. But at the same time, I'm afraid that if something doesn't continue to happen like this, you could fall complacent with the character. They have to stay on top of this. He has to capitalize on each and every moment that's given to him. Other than that, it could be golden if WWE plays their cards the right way.
Speaking of Golden, who will be the next Universal Champion? That's still to come this weekend. Who is going to be the second Universal Champion in WWE history? The Rev, Renell Hunt, Josh Eisner, Chairshot Reality, WrestleZone.com all weekend long. Don't go anywhere.